Let me adjust that really quick. But yeah, Instagram was not messing with me with trying to save that last video. I'm glad it even posted, but it took a minute. Hey everyone, again. Hey again. I am gonna answer, like, I am gonna continue to answer the rest of these questions. Let me look and see where I left off. So how has the other question, and you guys can still ask questions, or you all can still ask questions. I hate saying you guys because, you know, um, but yeah, like you all can still ask questions in the live, but I'm reading the questions from the Q&A that I had on my IG story the other day. So I'm reading those questions and answering those, but feel free to ask questions in the live. I'll answer those as well. So the next question was like, how has my journey changed since a year ago? And to be honest, like just so much has changed. So much has changed, and I mean that for the better. I think the biggest thing to me was the mindset adjustment, because everyone who, or I won't say everyone, I don't really know what everyone says, but I feel like it's something that I notice with a lot of traders. They say like the moment you start profiting from trading is the moment you stop caring about winning and losing. So I feel like that was the big change to me. Now, like I said before in the other live, I'm not about to sit up here and act like I'm perfect, or like I always keep it together with every single loss or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I set my losses based on what I'm okay with losing, or I set my stop losses based on what I'm okay with losing. So I have a daily risk limit. If it hits that daily risk limit, or if it hits my stop loss for a trade, that's something I'm okay with. I knew that I was okay with losing that money before I even placed that trade. So it shouldn't come as a surprise to me that, okay, like there's only two things that can happen. If it goes in my direction, it hits take profit. If it doesn't go in my direction, it hits stop loss. Neither of those numbers should be a surprise to me. Neither of them. So it's just like, why feel emotionally drained by a loss or anything like that? And that's easier said than done. Like, believe me, I understand that that's easier said than done, but it really is true. The moment you become okay with taking a loss and understanding that, you know, you can't have 100% accuracy in the market, and you can just take your L, hold your head high and go from it, that is the moment that you start being profitable for real. Because losses don't seem that significant to you, especially when you've planned for it. How do you handle your losses emotionally? Yep, so that's basically what I was answering there. So handling my losses emotionally, I just stick to the things that I do around my mental preparation. Like I mentioned before in like the last live, my meditation routine is just as important as my trading routine. Meditating before I even touch the charts or even open a chart or even place a trade or anything like that, that's just as important as the actual trading to me, that mental preparation, because we know that psychology is important for trading. So having that mental preparation before you even open the charts, that's going to put you in a place where you're mentally sound to be able to handle whatever the market gives you. So that's how I would say I handle losses when it comes to handling them with emotion or anything like that, or without emotion. Someone asked what were my favorite pairs. So my favorite pairs, they've been the same for a while, and I have a few IG story posts on my page that talk about my favorite pairs. So my favorite pairs are always like this hasn't changed. Like, this is something that just really hasn't changed. My favorite pairs are Euro USD, GBP USD, and GBP JPY. Those are, that's spam. That's spam right there. Those three. So having having your certain pairs, you want to make sure that once you find certain pairs that you like, that you stick to mastering those pairs. There's nothing wrong with testing a few different pairs. You don't have to choose the first ones that you first try out. That can change over time for sure. But if you are going to choose certain ones, master them. Definitely master them. And don't take the easy way out and give up either. But if you see that you have more success with one pair versus another pair, it's okay to stick with that pair that worked. It's definitely okay to stick with that pair that worked. Like, there's nothing wrong with choosing the one that you have more wins with. Like, that's only logic. That makes sense. Why would you not choose, like why would you trade something that don't like you? You don't have to. Do I trade your pair? So I'm guessing your pair is SPX, since your name is I am SPX. I did used to trade SPX, like closer toward the beginning of the year. SPX used to be one of my pairs. It's a bit more forgiving than NAS. It's a bit more forgiving than US 30. It's the gentle one of our indices. Hey BJ. Hey. But yeah, so I did used to trade SPX, definitely. When it comes to the indices, market structure is the name of the game at the end of the day. I mean, that's with any of the pairs, but with indices, that's what I like them for the most. Like, I feel like they respect market structure so well and so clear and so obviously that it's darn near ridiculous, especially US 30. And that's like, I like to call US 30 like the gentle giant. And it's because if you see what it's doing and you notice what it's doing and you understand what's going on, it's easy to trade it. It's no different from any other pair. Like, yeah, each pair's, like, all the different pairs do have their personalities, but market structure is market structure at the end of the day, for real. How did you stay persistent with trading? Because it's not as easy as it looks. I feel like I looked at it the same way you would look at approaching getting your 4-year degree, or the same way you would approach learning a language or anything like that. Anything that you want to progress in takes time. So if you want it and you can see the possibilities for you within that opportunity, there isn't any reason to not be persistent with something you say that you want. If you want it, you only owe it to yourself to be persistent with it. It only makes sense. Why I started trading, I had meant to do it for quite some time, but being laid off by my previous like career role, it kind of kicked me into gear with trading. I was just like, okay, I do really just have to make this work. I have to make this work, because the thing about it is, I knew how I felt throughout that entire layoff process. It's a big part of my why. Like, when I was, first of all, the corporate environment to me is very toxic. Like, I don't necessarily, I hated it. Like, I hated it. There were people who, and I think I mentioned this on my story, but I would have to sit there and watch people who I trained get promoted before me, or promotion at all before me, and also have to watch people take credit for work that I did. And then another thing about being, a woman of color in the corporate work environment, it's not necessarily, I'm trying to say my words most careful as I can. It's just not, I don't feel like the environment is built for it's a sore spot for me. It's a sore spot for me, definitely. But I feel like we're analyzed a lot, and that never feels good. Like feeling like you're being analyzed every day as you're walking into work, or judged for certain things, or if you something as simple as you going on your lunch break alone and people wondering, oh, why do you not want to eat with us for lunch? And it's just like, well, my lunch is my time to myself. I don't want to eat lunch with y'all. Like, this is my break time. This is the only time in the middle of the day during my 8 hours that I have to like recoup and come back to myself. Micromanaged is definitely another word. Brian, you said, yep, the very reason you're trying to leave your job. Yeah. Yeah, it's not fun. Just knowing knowing that you're being watched, as if you're in a store or something like that, like being followed. Like just stuff like that is not fun. So the work environment, or the corporate work environment specifically, because that's the only opportunity I can speak to, or the only experience I could speak to, because the places that I've worked are at corporate. Um, Johan, you said you don't like you don't like who? Who are you talking about, Johan? Yes, BJ. Scrutiny is, it's crazy to me, and like it's just like, yes, it's doable. Yes, it's doable. But again, I hate being the minority of the minorities too. It's so, oof. Like there were times where I would have I'm the type of person where I'm not going to say an idea unless I've thought it through, unless I know the ins and out of that idea, why it would work, why it won't work, different things like that. Very right. Yes, I hate y'all coworkers. Right. Right, that's really how it felt. Yes. That's exactly it. um, but there were times where I'd say an idea and it's a good idea, but they ignore it when I said it, but act like, like act like they didn't hear me say it, but then someone else says it and they say, oh, so and so came up with that. That was such a good idea, so and so. And I'm just like, so I, so so I don't exist. Got it. Bad. Got it. I don't exist. I didn't just say that. No one heard me just say that. All right, cool. All right. Got it. Like that never felt great. So in Forex, no one can judge you. No one can judge you or anything. Um how old am I? Middle-ish 20s, I'll say that. um, Zan the poet, you said you grew up in a white church, and from that experience, you steer clear from being environments where people like you aren't the majority. I feel that. I feel that. That's how they deflect feeling intimidated. That's so true. And it's so weird to me too. Like how do you blatantly ignore someone? But when it comes out, like that same idea, same wording, same phrasing, same everything, but it comes out of a different mouth, then it's more valuable? How did that, you don't like, y'all are real obvious. You're real obvious. Like, I don't understand. In Forex, we can judge your chart work. I mean, to be honest, that's not true though, because somebody, there are people where, their charts can look like scribble scrabble, like it looks like a little kid drew all over them, or they have like 20 million different indicators. But the thing is, if it works for them, who are we to judge? If it works for them, so we can't even judge chart work for real. Like, people can roast other people's chart work all day if they want, but if it's working for them, what can we really say? We can't. What works for someone may not work for us, or may not work for everyone, and that's okay. That's again another reason why I like the market, because it's different to everyone. Definitely. Um, the Forex trader, you said, am I self-taught or have I had a mentor? So a bit of both. I started out self-taught, or I really thought that I could teach myself. And the thing about teaching yourself is that it takes more time. It's possible, and a lot of people do it, but it does take more time. So everything that I gathered from learning or trying to teach myself, when I did take a course and had a mentor, that's what tied all the pieces together. Like, I like baby pips. I did like baby pips, and I found a lot of different websites and different things like that. Um, how long have I studied Forex? This is my 1 year trading anniversary today. That's the only reason I'm here. But, yeah, so like I said, like, I like baby pips. Things are different. It doesn't even have to be that. Just different sites that teach you the fundamentals. The knowledge is out there. There are tons of different free things out there that you can learn from. But the other thing about having a mentor, taking a course or anything like that, is it cuts down your learning curve significantly. So I would never say that someone can't teach themselves. A lot of people do teach themselves. I know a very great trader who taught himself. And it's like, the only difference is someone who's willing to teach themselves, or someone who wants to teach themselves, does have to understand that there's that time aspect there. They are going to have to put in a bit more time than if they paid for a mentor or a course. So when you're buying a mentor, or not buying a mentor, if you're buying a course or having a mentor or anything like that, then that's what you're doing. You're trading money so that you can get back a bit of that time. Oh, thank you, BJ. Thanks, Zan. Happy trade versary. Thank you. Let me see. I think that was all the questions. Someone said, how many months did it take me to really see that my learning was paying off? Again, that goes back to my 90-day trading challenge. And I took that I think I took that I did that into my 4th month of my trading. That was when I really noticed a significant difference in my trading, was when I did my 90-day challenge. Because like I said, like, that challenge, it was in order for me to learn about myself. It wasn't about win or lose. It was learning who I am as a trader and who I'm not as a trader. So let me see. Zane, you said you've kind of been discouraged with Forex recently, but seeing that it's my 1 year anniversary has inspired you again. Yeah, definitely get back to it. There's no reason to get discouraged. If you need to take a break for sure. But if you, like I was saying before, if you say that it's something that you want to do, there's no failure until you give up. Like, if you say, all right, this isn't for me, this just isn't for me, so I won't do it, that's one thing. But if you say, this is too hard, like I could see it, but it's too hard, then and you give up from there, that's failure. That's failure. Do not let yourself even think that way. Bryant, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's so weird. Like I really took this day to kind of reflect on the past year, because I feel like throughout the different months in the year, I didn't necessarily I feel like I didn't necessarily appreciate it. It was more so about, so, thank you. No problem. No problem at all. I feel like I didn't necessarily appreciate it. It was more so like me just trying to get to that next step. Like never really just relishing in what was, like the present, like present goals that were smashed or different things like that. It's just like, all right, what next? All right, I got here, what next? All right, this isn't working. Let's move that out. Let me study a bit more. Let me find out what can get me to what's next. It was always what's next. So I really used today to kind of reflect on the growth that I have had over the past year, because I have had growth over the past year, and I feel like I needed to appreciate. I feel like it's essential to appreciate growth, because it's something that can keep you going. It's something like you can definitely be your own motivation. So I was looking through like the story highlights on my page, because that was the reason why I did that. That was the reason why I have my story highlights, because I would post certain feelings on certain days about certain trades or certain wins or certain losses, certain ways that I've taken certain trades, and being able to look back on those things just by looking through like my IG story posts and seeing everything that like where I started and where I am now, you can see like the progression in the highlights. So it allowed me to really kind of appreciate that a bit more. He said, yes, you definitely understand. We get so focused on progress, we forget to honor our journey. Yeah. Like really just embracing it and respecting it, for real. Definitely. So I think, but those were all the questions that I had, or that people had asked me from my, what am I trying to say? I don't know why I keep like slightly losing my train of thought. But those were all the questions that everyone asked on my Instagram post Instagram story post that I had the other day, asking about questions for like doing a Q&A. So thank you everyone for joining me for my 1 year trade anniversary, as BJ said. Really appreciate everyone, and I wish everyone the best with all of your endeavors, whether it be trading, whether it be e-com, whether it be business, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be your current career. I wish you the best, honestly. Go after what's yours, set your goals, and take what's yours. Take what's yours. You owe it to yourself, honestly. Thank you, everyone. See y'all later, or see y'all on my story. All right, bye.